I believe that no matter what happens, you just cannot
I
give up.
find that one of the most common mindsets of people who are going through an illness, whether it's COVID, whether it's anything, any kind of illness, a common thing that happens is they start to think, why me? There's this sort of a self pity and this kind of a blame game that happens of others, destiny, that I was in. One starts to look into the sky and wonder, what have I done wrong that this sort of thing is happening to me. I have been through something similar. I've been through something, not just one problem. I've been through death. That sounds so weird, but that's true. And I'll tell you that one of the main things is that you have to believe in a superpower, whether you want to call it God, or whether you want to call it Allah, or you want to call it Christ, or you want to call it Messiah, whatever you want to call it. Doesn't matter. What matters is your belief in a power that is bigger than you are, and that is all pervading, and that looks after you. You have to know that that looks after you, and that's something that I knew through my illness. And of course, there are so many ways and things. Of course, there is a holistic principle. There is inventive medicine that I did. There was alternative yoga therapy that I got into, which I'm teaching. Luckily, I became a teacher just before the accident happened. So so I was already trained to look after healing of people. And when I say healing, I mean wellness. I mean help from misery of some sort or the other, right? Because it's not a happy thing when you are not well. If you're physically not well, then you start to become mentally not well as well, because there is discomfort. Any kind of discomfort puts you into a position of uncomfortability, like you are uncomfortable with yourself. And when you're uncomfortable with yourself, then you start to become uncomfortable with the surroundings as well, with life in general. So it is so nobody needs to tell everyone and tell that how important health is. Health is really wealth, and this is an age-old saying. And having been through ill health, I know how true that is. So yeah, I'll keep you posted on more and more things in the same flow. And in the meantime, look after yourself and believe. Never lose hope. Like the Nike slogan, you can do it. And when I started to write my book, Unusual, I used to think of, you can do it and more. You can do the unbelievable. And I believed in it, and I ended up doing it. So you need to believe. You need to believe that you can do it and that you are going to stay well. You will. I promise.
Pathology says that trauma is a physical injury or wound. where psychology says that trauma could be a huge mental distress or emotional, which could last a lifelong time.
Yes, I have been through severe trauma. So it's like trauma is one thing. Trauma is already discomfort, and it's uh, it's it's a mental disability in a certain sense. It's an attack, of all kinds of untowardly things in your mind. But you have it's like you're driving in a car, and your car and there's a truck behind you, and the truck comes and hits your car. So what happens to you? You go through shock, yeah, and depending on how hard the hit was and how many, whether you broke any bones in your body, or depending on the 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 strength of that, the impact of that sort of an accident, your trauma is of that level. So your trauma is on different levels. Like for me, my trauma was massive. It was intense because um, because my entire body was broken, and my body, mind, brain bleed. I mean, you name it. No wonder the doctors say that it's a miracle that I'm here today. So a result of that for me, in my case, was amnesia. And amnesia happens, which meant that I had a complete loss. First of all, of memory. So first of all, you have a loss of memory because the incident was horrific. So there is a mechanism in your brain where it shuts down the memory of that particular incident that happened. And that's what happened with me. So I had massive trauma, and so we go through something called PTSD, which is post-traumatic stress disorder. And I am in taking care of some of the people who go through PTSD, and there's a little formula I developed trying to heal myself, because there was nobody else to help me. Everyone had thrown their hands up. The doctors, the people around me, everyone. So the only thing I could do is do it to myself. And luckily I have, I was already a trained yoga teacher, and then I became a naturopathy doctor, and I became an alternative yoga therapist. So I kept on working, I kept on studying. I did I studied the science of happiness, for instance, in Berkeley University. I went and studied some of the deep meditations of Osho. I was already an advanced meditator of transcendental meditation, which I had learned 1 year after Ashiki released. So I am a long-term and advanced meditator of transcendental meditation, which is Maharishi Mahesh Yogi. And I, of course, have done, in the yoga we had, so there are so many different kinds of meditations I've done in my life, and I have really gotten into it. And, when you like something, you don't want to let go of it, So I have sort of, if you may call it so, excelled it in whichever way. Of course, there's always a lot to grow for everyone, to learn, but yeah. And I will keep you posted about these things. Just keep watching, just keep coming here, subscribe to my channel, keep a lookout so you'll get to know when a new video is coming out.
So stay safe and stay blessed.